Hey everyone, welcome to Retaliatory Strike. Today we have a game between myself, Ryan, playing Legion of Everblight, and Bob playing Khador. I just want to take a moment here to ask if there's anything that you'd like to see on the channel. Just leave a comment on the video and we'll try to make it happen. Hey everyone, I'm Ryan. Today we have something a little bit different. It's 150 points, no theme, with 2 casters. So for my list, I brought Lylyth 1, which has an Archangel, a Nephilim Bolt Thrower, and a Succubus, and Thagrosh 1 with a Carnivean, a Naga Nightlurker, a Nephilim Bloodseer, a Nephilim Protector, and a Seraph. For solos, I have Annyssa Ryvaal, Blighted Nyss Shepard, Craelix, Fang of Everblight, a Spell Martyr, the Forsaken, and a Warmonger War Chief. For units, I have a minimum unit of Blighted Nyss Archers with the Officer and Ammo Porter. I have a maximum unit of Nyss Raptors, a maximum unit of Blighted Ogrun Warspears with the Warspear Chieftain. I have a Boil Master and Spirit Cauldron, 2 Hellmouth units, and a Spawning Vessel maximum unit. So the idea behind this is Thagrosh can give out +2 strength to a model, and Lylyth can put out Parasite for -3 armor, which means that they can remove anything that they put both of that into. And I brought most of the units that I own just to get points in there. And I also wanted to try out the archers before the change and everything. So that's my list there. Oh, and another point, I do enjoy having the Nephilim Bloodseer in Thagrosh's control, because between his -2 strength aura, Carnivean's Spiny Growth, he's an armor 22 model that can take the alpha usually and damage the jacks that are hitting on him. So that's the big one. I play that in theme where he gets unyielding, so he's armor 24, but no theme this time.
Alright guys, I'm Bob. So today I'm playing Khador, 150 points, no theme. We've got Strakhov 1 and Vladimir 1. Strakhov's got Beast 09, a Destroyer, and a Kodiak. The idea being that with overrun shenanigans, Beast 09 can really get places and chop stuff up. We've got Vlad with a Beserker, a Destroyer, Drago, and 2 Juggernauts, because we want his battle group to go real fast and hit stuff. We've got Alexia, 2 on a horse, so she wants to try to collect souls from my other troops and turn them into skeletons. We got a Forge Seer and 2 Cauldron Lords, mostly for empowering Vlad's jacks. We've got Sorcerer 0 with a Rager, so I'll get a Shield Guard in my list, and Sorcerer 0 is there to put boundless charges out too. We've got Ogrun Kor, who mostly wants a Shield Guard for Alexia. We have a Winter Guard Artillery Captain to try to use Artillerist on my Destroyers. We've got Yuri the Axe, who's there mostly to give Tree Walker to my Cossacks. We've got a minimum unit of Assault Commandos, who are the bodyguard for Strakhov. We've got a minimum and a maximum unit of Battle Mechanics to try to keep my jacks up and running. 2 units of Chaos Eliminators, because they're always really good. We've got a maximum unit of Cossite Woodsmen, and a smart guy would ambush them, but I am using them as my frontline troops. And we've got 2 units of Widowmaker Scouts, because with a 2-caster game, the faction allowance is doubled. So instead of bringing just 1 unit, I can bring 2, which is awesome. So these 2 casters are Khador's most notorious speed freaks. And the concept of my list here is that Strakhov's feat lets everything in charge an extra 4 inches if they're charging something in his control area. So he can crank out the distance on charges even more, because Vlad's feat is that he doubles the speed of his battle group, his jacks. So we could get some massive speed out. So like Vlad on his own, between having speed 8 jacks and access to boundless charge, he is getting things a 1 inch reach jack can threat 14 inches with Vlad by himself. If we tack on Strakhov's feat to that, we're going to threat 18 inches. And in the rare event I could put superiority on one of Vlad's jacks, then we can have a 20-inch threat with a 1-inch reach jack, which is massive. And then Strakhov on his own, if he uses an overrun trick on the jack that he does have superiority on, we're going to speed 6 jack, who can then overrun 6 inches, and then charge 9 inches. So we're going 15-inch threat, if I got that crunched out right. And on feet turn, it'll be 19-inch threat, and if we boundless charge, it'll be a 21-inch threat on a 1-inch reach jack. So on their own, they are just massive for speed. So that's what my list looks like.
Deployment. So we rolled off, and Bob won the roll off and chose to go second, and he picked the side. For terrain on the board, in the bottom left of the zone there is burning forest. In the top right of the bottom zone is an acid pool. Just above that is a house. In the very middle of the board is a forest. In the top left of the top zone is a water feature, and in the right side of the top zone is rough terrain, and then we have 2 walls along the left hand side there. So for my deployment, I chose to be putting up Lylyth up the top with her Archangel, Bolt Thrower, and the Raptors up top there. And I end up deploying the Archers beside her as well. I figured I want to really leverage her feet for shooting, as it makes them hit things that they normally wouldn't be able to do. I put Thagrosh going up the bottom there, so I have the Seraph going and Bloodseer going across from that acid pool because they're flying, so they don't care about the hazards. And the Carnivean there, the idea is that I have a bunch of the heavy hitters down there, and then with the Archangel, a really heavy hitter up top. And then I end up putting my Warspears along the bottom too. They do have a little bit of ranged attacks, but I figured they would get more out of the -2 strength of Thagrosh's bubble and Fog of War than they would get from the additional die up top, and it's already quite crowded up there. They're quite small deployment zones at 150 points, we're realizing. And that pretty much gets into my pot I put in across from the house there, because between my spawning vessel and the gator pot, which I'm just grabbing on camera here because I forgot about them, they're gonna sit behind that house for the most part the entire game and pop out shredders and the like for me. So that is my initial deploy.
I guess the other reason to run the Warspears with Thagrosh is that Draconic Blessing strength buff will make their thrown spears hit harder too.
Yeah. So I always had that option too, was if I could get them into a hard target, then I could get them hitting at 15s, which is respectable.
Yeah, they play nice with them.
Units.
So I start setting my deployment now. So I've got Strakhov and his battle group on the top of the screen, and I've got Vlad and his battle group on the bottom. I'm just thinking that Strakhov and his assault commando buddies aren't going to care about the fireballs from the Archangel, so that's part of why I'm thinking of putting them there. I've chosen this side of the table because I didn't like the idea of trying to work around that house and the acid pool and the rough terrain, whereas if I take this side that I did, I've got walls to put my support models behind, and the terrain's a little more favorable for me. We both take the healing objective. The Pathfinder one could have been relevant for me with all the rough terrain around there, but I figured I had a lot of access to Pathfinder via boundless charges, so I decided to take the healing one as well. I just put my wizards in behind Vlad's battle group to power it up for him, and mechanics, the big unit mechanics behind Vlad's battle group, since that's where more of the jacks are. Source is pretty much in the middle to deploy boundless charges to either side, whichever side needs it. And that's pretty much most of my regular deployment. What's there? Alexia stays in the middle to try to figure where she needs to go to collect souls. And the Bokor wants to run around, hang out with her, to try to shield guard for her. I think that's about all my regular, and that's going to go into your distant deployment and then my advanced deployment after that.
So for my advanced deployment, I put one Hellmouth in the bottom zone there, so then I can forever contest that zone until it's removed. And then I put the other Hellmouth up next to the healing objective that I chose, so then I can be constantly putting the tentacles into that zone to contest if required. And if he gets some shots in and doesn't kill it, then my objective can heal it, which is good. And then we get into Bob's advanced deploy.
So I basically put down the Widowmaker scouts, one on each flank, and then I put my Yuri and the Cossacks pretty much up the middle. So because Yuri gives them Tree Walker, I want them to be able to abuse that forest and shoot right through it, because that's kind of neat. And then if they go into it, they'll have +2 defense against melee attacks while in it, which is also pretty cool. So that's why I want them there. Looking at it in hindsight, I kind of wish I had put 2 units of scouts near each other so they could all focus fire on a Hellmouth. Because if all of them shoot at a Hellmouth, they could just erase it. And I didn't really think about that when I was deploying them. And the ones at the top, they do wind up shooting at the one near the healing objective, then it just heals itself up. And I'm going, oh yeah, that was not a smart move for me. But that's what I've done. Like overall, list building for this was super fun.
Yeah.
And I do have more success than I thought trying out the Cossacks as a frontline unit instead of ambushing them. They're not awesome, but they're not...
Being defense 15 in that forest meant that I had to burn some of my higher quality attacks to remove them to get models to where I can shoot at stuff or whatever later on. So
they did better than I would have expected. But yeah, that's pretty much our deployments.
Yeah. Legion, turn 1. So for my turn here, it's gonna be pretty much all running. I can't reach anything, so I'm going through here and just running the tentacles to jam the way you do, and immediately run all of them out of the zone so that nothing's contesting up there, which doesn't matter. I forgot to put out prey during deployment, so I put it out now. So the Warspears prayed the bottom unit of Widowmakers, and Annyssa prayed the top unit of Widowmakers. And then I just run with my Warspears there and run with the Carnivean to back them up in case I need to do anything. I run with the Bloodseer behind the Hellmouth. He has flight, so he can get over him next turn. And then I run with the Seraph, and I made sure to keep him out of Yuri the Axe's threat range, and he doesn't care about the acid, so he just is standing on that. I run up the Naga Nightlurker, who's in this list for Wraithbane, so I know Vlad really likes having Blooded Kings out, but having blessed weapons means that I get to ignore it, so it can be relevant. I then run up my Archangel the full 14 inches, and then run up a Shepard and a Forsaken behind. After that, I drop some Fury with Lylyth and run her up so she can be farther up the board, and then I walk up with the Succubus and put out a Blizzard onto her, giving her stealth. I then run with all my Raptors up top, and then run with Annyssa to be behind the Archangel where she can't be seen. She has stealth, so it doesn't really matter. And then I'm realizing that I really gummed up the works there between the rough terrain and everything, so my archers run to get through that little funnel there for next turn, and then I move up Craelix in behind there. After that, I walk up with Thagrosh. I put out Draconic Blessings onto the Carnivean and Fog of War on himself, so then I can get that. And I run up with the Protector to within 3, so then he can shield guard and whatnot. And then I move up with the pots behind the house there, so you can see him move up. And then the Gator pot moves up, gets 2 corpses, which he hands out to the spawning vessel.
Khador, turn 1. So my turn 1 is going to be a lot longer than Ryan's turn 1 because I know I can reach an Archangel with some of Strachov's jacks. So here's me plotting out if I get an overrun off, move up those 6 inches, where that leaves me. And I'm trying to decide if I need Strachov's feet or not. So I'm like, overrun and boundless charge, we can really get places. So I realize after crunching it out a little bit, if I overrun the Kodiak and I have Strachov's feet affecting the Archangel, then I don't need to overrun Beast 09. So I'm going to overrun the Kodiak, and I'm going to just boundless charge Beast 09 and the Kodiak with Sorcerer 0. That means I can deliver Beast 09 and the Kodiak to the Archangel. So once I get that figured out, I full load to Beast 09, and I count on using an Empower on the Kodiak, which I wind up forgetting about later. But that's the plan. And then Vlad's stuff isn't really in range to do anything, so I know I'm just going to be running them up normally. That'll be what's going on that flank. So now to figure out what I'm doing over here, I need to move my Widowmaker scouts out of my way, basically. So they're going to move up and start shooting in a minute, once I figure out that's what I'm doing. Oh no, here's Strakhov going up to pop his feet. So if he goes up, he pops his feet, he really only catches the Archangel and like the tentacles in it, but that doesn't matter, because the Archangel's all we really want. He casts Overrun on himself and shoots at a tentacle. He rolls up 3 shots, but he hits and kills on the first tentacle. He's in Signs of Importance range. Oh yeah, Vlad went up and cast Signs of Importance. That's all he did. But so now, yeah, we shoot that. We overrun the Kodiak up its 4 inches. And now I know once I boundless charge them both, they can both reach Archangel. So that's feeling pretty good. Now I move my Widowmaker scouts just to get them out of the road. So they move up, and they're all going to shoot at the upper Hellmouth. So they all shoot, they're all going to hit, and each just auto-inflict a point of damage, so we do 4 points of damage to it. Which I was totally forgetting that it was next to a healing objective, which winds up basically fixing all that next turn. But so that was probably not the best choice for me. And as we found out later, I wish Strakhov had been able to put up Occultation on himself to get some stealth, because that winds up mattering a lot. Now my Cossacks move up, and they're going to just shoot at a bunch of tentacles a lot. So the tentacles aren't super hard to hit, but I do actually want it missing a couple, because being Rat 4 means hitting anything's hard. But besides importance helping most of them out, they actually do connect a lot. But they do need to roll 6 on 1 die to kill a tentacle. So we hit a lot, we do kill a tentacle off, but it's not awesome. That's about it. But they succeeded in getting out of my road, basically, and being up front to die. So hopefully Alexia can get some souls. Then I just run my Rager to be in shield guard range for Strakhov. Then I run and I move and empower. I use my Khador Lord to empower my Destroyer, because I forgot that I wanted to empower the Kodiak. So I empower a Destroyer, then realize it can't shoot at anything good, it can only shoot at a tentacle. So it goes and shoots at a tentacle. So that was me goofing up a little bit on that already. I made a pretty simple plan and then screwed it up, but it doesn't matter because the dice are on my side this game. So we plot out exactly how far I can launch now that I've walked up and boundless charged the 2 jacks. We can't get in fist range, but we do get in my 2-inch reach Ice Axe range of Beast 09. So Beast charges in for free. He's getting charged for free from Vlad's feet, or Strachov's feet, and from boundless charge, so that's great. So he's Mat 10 with superiority on him, so he's not missing anything. And he rolls boxcars for damage twice with his Ice Axe, and just does massive, massive damage to Archangel. Almost kills it all by himself.
Left it on 6 boxes.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So now I launch my Kodiak in, and it gets in range and punches it once and kills it. So, devastating blow for Ryan. However, it does leave Strakhov focused empty and really far up the board in front of a caster that likes to shoot a lot, which isn't great for me. But yeah, I did erase an Archangel, which felt awesome at the time. So now I'm like, oh cool, that all worked. I now run my Assault Commandos to try to form a human shield wall in front of, well, they're not in shield wall. They're just forming in a blade of layer of human bodies in front of Strakhov. And then one of them charges to try an assault shot at a Raptor and misses. But so I'm trying my hardest to keep Strakhov alive, but I know it's not going to be easy. Then I just run my Eliminators up for later. I run my Mechanics up just to have them up a little bit. And that's that flank done, really. Then over here, I move up my Widowmaker Scouts and shoot at a Hellmouth and hit it all 4 times and inflict 4 points of damage. So we have another half-dead Hellmouth. Yeah, and I run a Beserker up to back them up, and I run my other Jacks up a little bit because I'm trying to position them so hopefully next turn I can launch them out real fire with Vlad's feet. Kind of forgetting how much of a pain in the arse those walls are going to be, because then I have to balance charge to charge over them. I crank a Destroyer shot and miss a Tentacle, even though I boosted. And that's where I'm remembering, oh yes, I have an Artillerist who could have made me more accurate, and if he had done that, I would have hit. But I totally forgot about the Artillerist until it's too late. And then I just run up Alexia and her Bokor to try and be in range to collect some souls. And I run my other Jacks up to be in range. And I just run my Wizards up behind to support. A Wind Ravager goes up on the bottom one. And that is my turn.
Legion, turn 2. So losing an Archangel sucks, but I'm going to work with what I got. So I roll up healing on the objective onto the Hellmouth and heal 3, so it's only taken 1 point of damage so far. Put out some tentacles, and then I pull in all my fury there. From there, I start making a plan for killing Strakhov. He's quite far up there. So I'm trying to figure out what I need to do. I need to kill at least one of those assault commandos so then I can see. And I'm trying to decide the best way to do that. So I end up walking up with the Bolt Thrower, putting up his Animus and boosting to hit. I hit him and I critted, so even if he didn't die, he would be knocked down, and what I need to happen has happened. And then I'm trying to Strakhov has 1 shield guard, so I'm wanting to get where I can boost both of my shots in and still put out the parasite. So I need to move those Jacks, so I use the top Hellmouth, and there I am just gripping them in. So I pull both Jacks in to get them out of the way. So that worked out good for me. And then after that, I am just trying to figure out where Lylyth needs to stand, where she's within 12 of Strakhov, can see him, and out of 2 of Beast 09 there. So a little bit of measuring there, but I find a spot that works. So I move her up, I feat with her, and I boost to hit my first hit. I hit, and he shield guards it, which I expected. So I do some damage. Second shot, I boost to hit, I hit, chip in a little bit of damage there, and then I put up Parasite, which we then immediately forgot about. Which is always great. So I go up with Annyssa next because I want to take some shots at him, use everything that I can. So I hit with her, chip some damage in, hit again, do a decent amount of damage, and there he's left on about 5 boxes. So if we added the parasite damage, then she probably would have killed him, but I repo her to get in the way of Lylyth, so it's a little bit harder to get towards her. And then I use my Raptors. I move them up to where they can all pretty much shoot at Strakhov, and the first 3 end up killing Strakhov. So now I have 2 inert Jacks right next to my flag there, which isn't the best, but it's better than having 2 active Jacks there. So, and then my last 2 Raptors just take some incidental shots and clear some guys out, and then repo. So they repo their 5 and they're moving forward a bit there. After that, I just run with the Shepard and the Forsaken up there so they can potentially get in the way of stuff or maybe even do something this game. They were originally there to help out with the focus management for Lylyth and the Archangel, and that's no longer an issue. From there, I go with Craelix, and I do something that I've never done before, which is the Blight Spasm. So I ended up killing Widowmaker Marksman, which then damages and kills 2 other of the Widowmakers. So that's great. And then I try it again with one of the Cossites, so he dies. And then he doesn't end up killing anyone else with his flailing body. And then he takes his last shot. I had totally forgotten that he has Swift Hunter, so I could have moved him closer and maybe got something a little bit better, but instead I remembered on this one, so I shoot him, give a soul to Alexia, and there's where I Swift Hunter him out back a little bit. After that, I am going with my archers, so now they have to funnel through an even smaller area with the Hellmouth and all the inert jacks, so they just run to get up behind that forest and hopefully shots at something. And then I move up the Succubus and put a cloud on Lylyth to give her stealth. And then I'm assaulting in with my Warspears. So this is their prey target, so it's pretty good. And I realized that I forgot to run my Ogrun solo up to get the veteran leader. So the first guy misses by 1, which he would have hit, and the rest of them all hit and erase most of that unit from the board. So it would have been nice to have that up there. And then Bob was kind enough to let me just run him and catch him up to the unit after I realized that he's still standing in deployment. So after that, I put up Spiny Growth with the Bloodseer, and then he charges over the Hellmouth there. He has flying, so he's up there to soak an alpha from heavy. After that, I'm looking at Yuri the Axe, and I really don't like that guy, so I move up the Seraph. I dial up shots. I get 1 shot. He's out of Lylyth's feet range, so I boost a hit, boost damage, and end up 1-tapping Yuri, which is great for me. After that, I move up the Naga Nightlurker and just boost. He's still out of her feet as well, so he boosts a shot and kills a Cossite. Why not? After that, I move up the Carnivean, put up Spiny Growth with him so he can support those Warspears there, or up top, whatever goes in on the Bloodseer. And then I walk up Thagrosh, so then he can, his -2 strength aura can affect anything that goes in on my Bloodseer and everything to make it effective armor 22. I roll up 1 corpse with the crockpot, give it to the spawning vessel, who then moves up to the top there and creates a shredder, who then riles and runs, which makes my fury work out with Lylyth.
Khador, turn 2. So, we got a lot to unpack this turn because I just lost a caster. I have some recovery to do. I'm seeing a lot of bunched up Raptors and Warspears though, near my unstable jacks. So I'm kind of hoping to get a massive unstable jack explosion to murder those units real good for me. So that's part of what I'm building my plan this turn around. Vlad allocates a little bit to some of his jacks, planning on using the Grey Lords to empower.
I had forgotten to activate my Hellmouth, and because the turn hadn't started, Bob was kind enough to let me just run them up where they were going to go anyways.
Naturally. So now we have more of a screen to clear out of there. Vlad needs to keep 4 focus to cast 2 boundless charges because I parked my jacks behind a wall like a dummy. so I need to use boundless charges to get him out of there. And Sorsha allocates 1 to her Rager, planning on effing into power, go on to max load them, and planning on giving a battle's charge to get into that water and on those Raptors. So I got all my allocations sorted, so that's good. Now I'm looking at what I can actually do. So I start out, I'm like, okay, I need to move my Assault Commandos to out of the road so I can use my Rager where I want. So my Assault Commandos move, 3 of them are in shield wall, one of them's kind of standing off on his own, and they try some shots at the Raptors. Rat 6s into Def 14s, so need like 8s to hit, but we do actually connect and just crank damage and kill one, and then the other ones try some shots, and another one does land a hit and put a point of damage, and then another one lands a hit and finishes off the Raptor. So holy crap, they killed 2 Raptors, which I didn't expect, but the dice are on my side. Now the Cossacks move up, again mostly out of the way, but they're going to move. Some will go into the forest where Treewalker will help defend them. They move up and try a bunch of shots. I try one at an archer through the forest and then realize it's really, really hard to hit because they have Fog of War on them, and I'm Rat 4, so they're not. They need 12 or something to hit those guys.
Defense 15, so 11.
11's close enough. Then I try some shots at that Shepard, and I do actually connect to hit. I need like 9s to hit, I think.
Yeah,
something high, but I do hit. So I'm like, yeah, those Cossacks are doing good. They try some shots at the bolt thrower and don't do anything. They try some shots at the objective because I know they can actually hit that, and we do scratch a point of damage into the objective. And they try a shot at a tentacle, I guess, and don't do anything. But I'm like, cool. They did okay. They killed a Shepard. That was neat. Cossacks as frontline troops, man. They can do some work. Now that I've cleared that spot, Sorsha battles charges the Rager, and she spends her other focus to activate the Destroyer. The Rager goes in and boosts to hit, connects, boosts to hit, I think, the next one. And I was looking to see if he can collect corpses from his pots. They can't. So yeah, we boost to hit the next initial and splatter the other, what do you call them? And we boost damage, because it's only power 13 on the shield. So we do all that, then we see if he blows up, and he does. So then we measure it out. He gets a little bit of blast damage on those other 2 Raptors, Annyssa and the other one, and she blows up, or the Raptor blows up, and Annyssa takes some damage, I think, but
4 points, so you half health during.
So yeah, that Unstable Jack cleared that whole mess down there, so that's great. Now the Eliminators want to try to clear that screen because anatomical is a great rule. So we stab and just kill it, and then sidestep, and then stab and kill the next one, and sidestep, and repeat the process. And there, now I've killed off that screen and got them out of my way. So yeah, every game of the Eliminators, they're always great. They're a terrific unit to have. So we go up, and we empower that Beserker with my Khador Lord. And then we are looking at where I can launch those Juggernauts to smack stuff. So we figure it takes a little bit of looking to see what lanes I can take, because there is a bit of a lane to get around my Eliminator. But we're going real far because of Vlad's feet. So we're like, okay. Because did I mention Vlad's feet was up already?
You just put it up, and you just cast Boundless Charge.
Okay. So yeah, so Vlad puts up his feet. He casts Boundless Charge twice on those 2 Juggernauts, which leaves Vlad focus empty, but hiding behind a wall and hoping that nothing pays attention to him. Now we charge that Jack in. It's going for free because of Boundless Charge and because of the feet, so 2 reasons he's free charging. He boosts to hit and cranks it and gets a critical and freezes that Seraph and does tons of damage, and then punches it and does some more damage, and then buys an attack and kills it and gets a camp of focus. And he's not in range to punch at anything else, which is probably a mistake on my part. Then I'm looking at where I can launch the other Juggernaut, and we find a nice little spot for him to live. So he charges up and starts smacking on that Bloodseer. And Bloodseer's armor good right now because
22, so it's a dice off 3 on the axe.
Yeah, because I'm in Thagrosh's passive aura of making me weaker. So we punch the Bloodseer a bunch and take a bunch of damage back from Spiny Growth and don't actually kill it. But we crippled 2 of its systems, which is not too bad. But yeah, there's a few times that I punch it and do like 2 points of damage to you and then take 2 points of damage from Spiny Growth. Really hate fighting things that spiny growth. Now I'm looking at what I got to do with this Beserker on the bottom. And I realize, okay, just to make sure I have a nice clean lane, I'm going to use my Widowmaker Scout first to get out of my way. So he goes and he shoots the Carnivean and does a point of damage. And because they can choose they put it, I put it on the 5. And now I'm looking at where we can park that Beserker. So we know we can go real far, we charge him in, and don't have to take a free strike going in, which is great. We have this nice little pocket where I'm in range to blow up lots of Warspears, and if they don't blow up, it's not bad for me because we boost a hit, we do connect, you pass your tough roll and fall down. And then I use my next initial to finish off this guy and Berserk at another one, and we hit him and we kill him, even though I'm 2 points weaker in my strength because I'm around Thagrosh, but we're still a heavy jack hitting some troops. So we Berserk. And I think I boost a hit and then boost damage because I want to use all of it to see if he explodes. But like I said, if he doesn't, I'm not too bad, but he does explode. So we check it out, see who I hit, and we roll the power 14 blast damage onto all these guys. One of them passes his tough roll. The other 2 both don't and die horribly. So those exploding unstable jacks did a lot of work this turn, which is kind of neat. It sucked a little bit for me. They're both full health. Like, it feels better if you're blowing up a beat-up jack. But we walk up and shoot the destroyer at the Hellmouth and do minimal damage to it. We do something, but it's not a lot.
2 points of damage.
2 points of damage to the Hellmouth. Yeah, we do
nothing
something.
to Thagrosh.
Yeah. So we don't do a lot with that. And then we walk up the one that we activated this turn with Sorsha just to be up a little bit more. Again, forgetting, I'm like, oh yeah, I have an artillerist who could have been, talking to people, but it didn't matter. So then I run my eliminators to engage Annyssa Ryvaal, forgetting that she has parry. But I do run up to engage her. Now I form a human wall of mechanics to try and protect little Sorsha, who's focused dry. Story of my life. I have the Bokor in range shield guard for us still, so that's good. We move Alexia up to turn some of those dead Cossacks into skeletons. So she makes her 3 skeletons and then repos back a little bit to stay in the shield guard range of the Bokor. But I also want to keep her up fire to try and collect souls off those Cossacks. As it turns out, I parked her too far up in front of all the shooting. We find it next turn, but this turn I'm still thinking I'll try and get some souls. Yeah, the Bokor moves up to be in range of shield guard for both Sorsha and Alexia, so that's feeling good. Now I just run some mechanics so they can try and be in range to fix... Oh, I run Drago first, rather. Then I run mechanics to try and be in range to repair stuff next turn after it gets all beat up. And that's my turn.
And you score 1 and I don't. Legion, turn 3. So for this turn, I lost my Seraph, which I was hoping he would be dodgy and survive. First thing I do is I put out some tentacles. So I put one in the back arc of the bottom eliminator there, and I put one up there to engage a bunch of Cossite woodsmen. And then I leech in all the fury and everything. I pay to upkeep Draconic Blessing on the Carnivean, and then I drop Fog of War because I don't want to give it to his models. First thing I do is stand up that Warspear and take a thrown weapon at the top eliminator, who he's just within 5, and he misses. So then I go with the Ogrun solo there, and he charges a Widowmaker marksman, and on the charge he's mat 10, so he eats her pretty reliably. After that, I look, and the Naga just has to move up a hair there to shoot at Alexia. So I boost a hit, I hit, he doesn't shield guard it, so I boost damage, and I crank about 4 points of damage in, which is good. After that, I go with the bolt thrower. I boost a hit. I'm trying to get a quick work to be able to shoot at Alexia as well, but I miss my attack because of the +2 defense, so Tree Walker was really relevant. After that, I move up with my archer unit. They have practice maneuvers so they can pass through each other and everything. So I move them up, and I have 5 of them within range of Alexia, and then with the officer they get to re-roll mists. So I end up doing a 5-man CRA into her. I hit, he shield guards it away, so I crank a little bit of damage into the Beserker there, about 4 damage. And then with the ammo porter there, they get their second shot, so they shoot and hit Alexia and end up killing her. So they're doing great there. So I had 2 guys that couldn't get into them, so the one they shoots at the skeleton on the flag there, and I end up removing him. So now he's done scoring there. After that, I shoot at a mechanic, and I think it killed a mechanic. Maybe not. I go with the bottom unit of the Hellmouth, and I swing at that Eliminator, and it ends up missing. After that, I am looking to see what Thagrosh can do. So he spends 2 to heal the Bloodseer, his 2 crippled systems, and then he walks over, boosts to hit the Eliminator, kills them, and then heals the Bloodseer for another one. And then the Bloodseer puts up Spiny Growth because he's just within 6 of the Carnivean, and then walks over and I boost to hit into the Juggernaut. I don't get the crit knockdown, and I boost damage, and I think I get a couple points in. After that, I'm starting to look up at the top of the board there to see what I want to do. So I rile and run the top shredder there to engage those assault commandos, so then they're tied up on him a little bit. I probably should have done that later so that I could get some shots at them without giving them the engaged bonus. And then I'm trying to figure out if I can get Lylyth to apprentice Strakhov there, so Sorsha 0. And I'm trying to work that out because Lylyth wants a second caster kill on her belt there. So I end up charging Eliminator with the Forsaken, needs a 12 to hit and misses, but I just pretty much needed to get the Forsaken out of the way. I end up moving up Craelix. I shoot one of the mechanics with Blight Spasm again, and I end up killing 2 mechanics with it, so I'm getting lots of work out of that, and I think I get a point of damage into the artillery captain. And I forget about Swift Hunter again, so I shoot one of the assault commandos and then Swift Hunter forward, and I'm within range of Sorsha, and I shoot at her and miss. So now I move up my Lylyth and I boost to hit. I hit and I boost damage, and then I end up shooting at Drago because I killed her, so now her jacks are inert again. So I shoot Drago, I hit, and I crank a bunch of damage in with boxcars, and then I use my last 3 to put up Parasite on Drago, so now he is only armor 15, which can be relevant. After that, I walk up with Annyssa and I shoot one of the skeleton solos that Alexia made, kill that one, and I shoot the other one because I really don't like Weapon Masters. So I killed both of them, and then I repoed her forward to gum up the back lines there as much as possible. And then I walk up with the Succubus and put a cloud on Lylyth, so she's stealth, so it's going to be hard to shoot at her. And then the pot moves up and gets out of the way so the Spell Martyr can go and score that flag. Unfortunately, the Eliminator is still there, but can't be helped. I use my Hellmouth and I swing at Cossite, miss, and then the Maw just bites one of the jacks. I figured maybe I can work the inert jack out of the way. After that, I'm just lining up an assault with my Carnivean. So he goes in and he's going to hit 3 jacks and a mechanic. So I hit all 3 with my assault spray. And I boost damage into Drago because it's dice off 1. And I get some pretty good damage into him. And he is only armor 15, so the fire might be relevant next turn. My charge attack hits, and I roll 3 6s for damage, and it's power 20 because of Draconic Blessing, so straight dice. And then he uses his other 2 initials to remove that Juggernaut, so he puts up Spiny Growth, and he's sitting up there. And then I move the Protector over to Guard Dog for Thagrosh.
Khador, turn 3. Okay, so we see fire goes out, and it doesn't go out on Drago, and he takes a little bit of fire damage. And was there fire on, like, the Destroyer was on fire, and it goes out, actually. And it was the one I didn't care as much about. Because Drago being armor 15 right now from Parasite, it actually stings a bit. I decide not to shake fire on Drago because I'm thinking I might need to launch him in to do more work. I'm thinking the Juggernaut's going to go fight the Carnivean and the Bloodseer, and I'm thinking of launching Drago to try to finish off whatever the Juggernaut can't, and the Destroyer is going to try to shoot something. That's kind of the vague plan I cobbled together. So I allocate a bunch of focus to the Juggernaut, and I plan on empowering my Drago and Juggernaut a little bit. And Vlad just hides behind the wall and puts up Signs of Importance. So that makes life pretty simple there, because I'm trying real hard to keep Vlad alive, because he's my only caster that's left. So then, there's a bit of chatting about what we're going to do next, so this isn't a fast-paced turn. We're trying to figure out what to do with what I got left. So we're chatting a bit about what we're going to do. Like that, there's me using just now Vlad putting up Signs of Importance. The Forge Seer goes up and empowers Drago. So that's good. And then we talk some more. Because I'm still trying to formulate a half-assed plan. Yeah, losing Strakhov so quick was a big setback. It's making my turns a little harder than I'd like. Oh, I'm looking to see if the Cauldron Lord can go attack that Ogrun solo. But it's like armor 22 versus
armor
me?
19 into melee because he has unyielding.
Armor 19? But yeah, like my power 10 axe, even charging in, I'm not liking my odds of trying to chop him down, so I decide to not do that. Then right there... Was that my Destroyer shooting at the Hellmouth just now, or no?
This is your Juggernaut into the Carnivean.
Here's the Juggernaut attacking the Carnivean, yeah. So the Juggernaut goes in, pounds on the Carnivean a bunch.
Use armor 21 with Spiny Growth and Thagrosh's Aura. Or 22,
22, yeah. So it takes a bit of hit. But we pound on him pretty good. And we put him down with the last attack, I think. Yeah, last attack. I boost damage the last attack, actually, to confirm the kill. So he does kill the Carnivean. He got banged up a bit from Spiny Growth doing it. I walk up my mechanics, so I get some mechanics on. 1 on the Destroyer, 1 or 2 on the Juggernaut, 1 or 2 on Drago. I forget about the mechanic you can see right behind the objective. So he's gonna, I remember him before they're done their activation, and we move the mechanic over to do more repairs on Drago. So just kind of missed him for a second. Oh, and that's right. Sorry, the objective had healed the Ogrun Bokor a little bit at the start of the turn. Kind of forgot to mention that. So now that I've fixed up my jacks a bit, I at that point realize moving the mechanics up like that has blocked Drago's lane to the Bloodseer. So here it was not shaking fire and giving him focus, and I can't actually launch him where I need to. So that's a problem. Over on the top of the board there, I get the Assault Commandos to attack the Shredder, and one of them scratches it with its bayonet and does like 80 points of damage. And one of them charged Annyssa and missed her, because she's really good defense. So they tried, but that's all they're doing, which is not a lot. I then walk a mechanic to get behind Annyssa and walk another one up, and the one behind her has Signs of Importance helping him out. So he actually connects a hit and does some damage to her. So, good job, mechanics. That's why they're called battle mechanics. Sometimes they can hit stuff.
So she's on 2 boxes left.
Yeah. Charge my Artillerist Captain at her and don't hit her. Because my Artillerist Captain doesn't give her Artillerist all gain, but he does try to do lots of melee attacks. I charge Ogrun Bokor at her and don't hit her. So she's eating all my activations and I'm not actually putting her down, so that's awkward for me. I'm looking here, I get the Khaldun Lord to go up and put up Wind Ravager to try to make Annyssa Ryvaal's turn harder and try to make your caster too, try to make it more difficult to get shots off. Now I'm looking, here's me looking to see what I can reach with Drago. And I'm like, I could maybe get him in there and try to hit some of those archers, but it's also awkward and tricky. The lane I have to take sucks. So it's really annoying that I've given him focus and not shaking the fire, but I can't really figure out what to do with him very well. I go and empower the destroyer. Why not? Now I'm looking to see what I can do. I think I'm trying to decide. I think I want the destroyer to crank out a shot. I'm trying to decide where to do it, and pretty sure I decided to shoot into that mess of archers, because this is...
You target the Naga, you boost a hit, and with Signs of Importance you still missed, but it just deviated 1 inch, which still hit everyone.
Yeah, the 4 HE, so it's all just going to be blast damage, no direct hit, so I boost blast onto the Naga and do nothing. But then just the power 7 blast onto all the troops does quite a bit. Because the Signs of Importance always helps.
And there I'm just checking for the collection range.
Yeah, so lots of dead archers are going into the various pots on the table. So he's recycling all them later. I think you make out better with all the corpses this game than I do with Alexia's souls. Here's me trying to see where to squeeze Drago in to see if I can attack that tentacle. Find out we kind of need to move the Cossacks first. It's also going to suck because Drago has Berserk, so when he goes and kills a tentacle, he's going to Berserk into whatever friendlies are around, so that's annoying. But that's really all I can do with Drago is kill a tentacle that's going to come back. It's not ideal, but that's what we're going to do. I'm looking to see, okay, the Cossacks need to move, so I try to figure what I can do with them. Some of them are going to try to attack your caster on the top. Some, and there's 1 or 2 other models. There's another model there that try to attack the beast.
Yeah, the bolt thrower. So 2 go into Lylyth, 3 go into the bolt thrower, and 1 does a fake charge on the tentacle to try.
Oh, we realized later with a fake charge, a Cossite that's not doing a real charge literally can't do any damage.
It's dice off 7 on 1 dice, so
you literally can't do anything to your tentacle if he's not actually charging.
I think you chip a couple points of damage in.
Let's see here. I can't remember. I think I might have connected. Oh yeah, I connected a hit on the bolt thrower and do something.
Do 3 points of damage, and you missed both on Lylyth.
Yeah. So they did connect a hit. So trying to use them as frontline troops hasn't been a complete failure. they're not great at it, but it hasn't been a complete failure. So then I go up with Drago, making sure I don't look at my destroyer. I chop the tentacle, and then I have to Berserk into my Cossite, and I kill my Cossite with Berserk attack. So, not ideal. Berserk definitely is a double-edged sword. Now, thinking a little more what I can do. Oh yeah, here's where the Kayazi Eliminators try to eliminate your caster. So they walk up, just walk behind to get behind her with parry and acrobatics and all that good stuff. So they're just walking behind her. They try to combo strike. They need to roll 7s to hit, so this isn't a perfect plan. But they both do connect. And with gang and combo striking, they're going to be power 15. So the first one cranks a bunch of damage in. And the second one connects and whiffs damage pretty hard. And only does it go a little bit.
Yeah, it was straight dice with Parasite, and you left her on 3 boxes. Probably should have died on average dice.
If they both hit and rolled average dice, yeah they could have shanked her to death. But she's a hurting caster now, so that's kind of neat for me. Then...
This is your Eliminator going into the bottom Hellmouth?
Yes, the Eliminator goes in because Hellmouth is left on 2 boxes, so Eliminator stabs it twice and uses the Hellmouth Precision to just kill it. And that's that turn.
Legion, turn 4. So Lylyth's kidneys are super sore from getting shanked real hard, so I have to I'm going to try to save her life here. I roll and heal the archer officer with the objective. So he heals 4. I do all the leeching and I place a tentacle, and I do all the leeching for Lylyth and forget to do it for Thagrosh, which we'll get to in a second here, as I'm trying to plan out my turn here. So the first thing I do is I move up the Succubus, and we're not 100% sure how it works for targeting into melee because she doesn't have a melee weapon or anything, and she's in the back arc if she gets to negate the +4 defense. So we say that she does because she gets right up behind her. She misses anyways. I was trying to do an influence and get her to stab the other Eliminator. And then I go with the spawning vessel and I use them to kill one of the carriers, stuff them into the pot to get to 3 corpses, and then spawn a shredder. And then I move my crock pot over, hand 3 corpses to the spawning vessel, and then roll up 3 more corpses, so I'm full on corpses still. And here's where I do the leeching for Thagrosh. I run the Ogrun solo there to start being threatening to the back lines there. And then I'm working out if I can walk my Protector into the back arc of the Eliminator, and I can. So I walk her, I boost to hit my attack, and I miss with that attack. So I buy and boost, and I hit that time, and I kill her. So now Thagrosh is freed up to do other things, which is good for me. And now here I am doing a bunch of measuring with Annyssa. I want to see if she can walk back and get into combat with both of the Eliminators. Her having parry has been huge this game, so we're just trying to see if with her 9 inches of move, if she can get into combat. So we pull out the steppers and everything, work out where all she can go. And I can't quite get her into combat with both of them, so I just get into the back arc of one, I take a shot, I hit, and I kill her with the poison bow, and I decide might as well just take the shot into the other one. Maybe I can roll real good and clear out. I miss, and then I repo forward again in the hopes that it'll eat up a bunch of his activations again. And then I'm looking to see what I can do with Craelix. I move him back into the back arc of the other Eliminator. He takes a free strike, but he misses. He was needing 9s, I think. He rolls and he hits the Eliminator and kills her with the poison sword. And then he didn't have anything else in his combat action, so his turn is over. So there's still 2 Cossites engaging Lylyth there. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to walk out and take some free strikes, and then I want to transfer the damage, so I decide to go with the beasts first. So the top shredder, I max him out, eating the 2 assault commandos there, and he gets some he snacks up that 1 point. I use the Forsaken to move up behind the other Cossite, and she misses with her claw attack. I was really wishing that I had actually pulled in some Fury so I could Blight Burst them, but I can't. So I Animus with the bottom Shredder that I just brought in, who charges the Cossite, which puts him on max Fury. He hits and eats them. And I also see a line here where my Drago can be pulled in to the Maw there and be out of Vlad's control range. So I go with the Bolt Thrower, and he is boosting to hit those guys. I was kind of hoping I could get all 3 of them and get a quick work, but I can't. So I end up using all 3 Fury to kill 2 Cossites, and then I do the Maw and pull Drago in. So he's left on 2 boxes after the tentacle and 2 Maw attacks on him because I gripped him in. And for those of you counting, all of Lylyth's beasts are now full of fury, so I can't transfer. So I decide to mull it over, and I move up the Naga Nightlurker within 10 of the Forge Seer, boost to hit, and I boost damage, and I ace him off the board. I needed to roll like a 12 to do it, and I did. And then I charge the Warspear into that Juggernaut. So he charges in, and he gets a couple points of damage in on the charge attack.
Does his assault shot first.
Yeah, he didn't do any damage with it, but he did hit. It was just dice off 8, and I didn't spike it. From there, I'm still trying to plan, so I'm doing the math. I think the Cossacks needed 9s to hit Lylyth on a free strike, and then they're dice off 7 because of Parasite. So I'm still trying to figure out if just healing her and walking her, what the odds are. So still can't decide. So I go with the archers, and they move up and they kill the Khaldun Lord there, and then they kill one of the mechanics there with their shots. So that was good. I move Thagrosh over. He gets corroded. And then I am doing my breath weapon onto him. So I hit and I boost damage, and I get those 2 points of damage in and finish him off. So now Lylyth is actually 1 armor less now. So I kind of helped her out. I then brought back my Carnivean. I used 2 to put up Spiny Growth, and used 2 to put up Fog of War, or 3 to put up Fog of War, and then I healed the Bloodseer a little bit, who then moved up to engage the Destroyer and the Juggernaut, and he boosted to hit, and he critted him and knocked him down, and then boosted damage and chipped some damage in. So now I'm pretty confident that Juggernaut's going to have a hard time getting to the Carnivean, and if he does, he probably can't finish him off without being fully loaded. After that, I am going with Lylyth, and I do an Eruption of Spines, and after I do it, we reread it, and it's D3 nearest models. So then it ends up hitting Annyssa, the Forsaken, and the Shredder. I don't break armor on Annyssa. I do 4 points of damage to the Forsaken, and I do 9 points of damage to the Shredder, which is great. And then she walks her 7, and she takes a shot at the
last mechanic who was contesting the zone.
Yeah, who is contesting the zone. So now I'm going to score 2 points this turn. And then it goes to Bob.
Khador, turn 4. Okay, so this is going to be tough. I don't have a ton of good models to work with here, and I got a lot of enemies in my face. But I'm trying to hash out a plan for what I want to do. I know the Juggernaut's all up in those models, so he's going to want a bunch of focus. The Destroyer might need a little bit, and I know I want Vlad to try and go turn on that other Destroyer, because we're running out of jacks to try to fight his big stuff with. So I need to get some more functional models on the table instead of all these inert jacks. So that's kind of what I bash out for a quick and dirty plan. I check to make sure Vlad can walk and reach that Destroyer. With Blood of Kings on, he can walk 9 inches. So I know I can make that work. That just limits how much focus I can actually allocate to my jacks, because it's going to cost me 4 to put Blood of Kings and 1 to turn on the Destroyer. So I can give like 1 or 2 focus out to my other jacks, but that's about it. So I've got that all figured out now. So what's the next move I make here? Because like Scenario's starting to run away because Ryan's able to score a lot, and I really haven't been able to set up to score anything. Like my flag's contested by that Bloodseer. I've got just nothing to work with. So like,
I think it's 1 to 3 right now. So you're just trying to limit how many points I can score.
Yeah, it's not easy though. I don't have a ton of models to contest stuff with. So I get my what do you call him? Assault Commando. He charges Annyssa. He does the assault shot, which connects, cranks damage, and kills her. And then we checked, he's like, he's not in the zone. I was like, I should have looked harder to make sure I could put him in the zone. That was dumb of me. I walked the mechanic up to tow it, why not? The artillery captain charges a shredder and does some damage to it. Because he's a combat solo this game and not an artillerist, apparently. I haven't used artillerist on him once.
I think you took out 2 aspects with that charge, too.
Yeah, he smashed him pretty hard. He's a good combat dude when he wants to be. Okay, then I walk up on mechanics to repair stuff because that Juggernaut's all beat up and the destroyer gets scratched. So we walk up and repair stuff a little bit. So that's good. Try to keep things functional because between him beating on me and spiny growth damaging me whenever I attack his stuff, it's been a hard day for Juggernauts to stay functional. So the Juggernaut goes and acts as that Ogrun Warspear.
I think you fisted him.
Yeah, I think I fisted him because I wanted to use my weaker attack on that. And then I start ice-axing the Bloodseer. I take some damage to Spiny Growth. I beat up the Bloodseer. I leave him on 3 boxes. So I beat him up real bad, but don't kill him. That sucks. But he's beat up real bad, so it's not the worst. Now, I use the Destroyer. It walks over to that Naga Nightlurker. We check to see if he's still on the strength debuff of Thagrosh, if he is, but we smash the Naga a couple times, and we reduce it to little bits of chunky salsa. And that's a dead Naga Nightlurker. So hey, we're killing stuff. Then, here's where I go with Vlad next. Yeah, Vlad spends 4, puts up Blood of Kings. Now it gives him +3 to all of his stats, including speed. So he walks 9 inches to that Destroyer, turns it on. Destroyer walks up and tows that zone. So I'm hoping I have enough things in there that he has trouble clearing that zone out. The Bokor walks up, just doing shield guard range of things. And the Wind Ravager goes up, or the Cold Lord puts up Wind Ravager to make the life difficult. That's my turn.
Legion, turn 5. So, looking at the board, all I have to do is clear out that beat up Juggernaut and 2 mechanics, and I can score the bottom zone and my flag and win on scenario. But there's also Vlad up top there, and I think Lylyth wants to get another Warcaster scalp. So I leech in all my Fury. The Shredder at the top there frenzies. He had his spirit and his body was out, so he hit him, but only had 1 dice damage and didn't end up eating the artillery captain at all. So there, Lylyth is going up. She's within 12 of Vlad and out of the 9-inch Wind Ravager. So she boosts to hit. Her range attack hits. He shield guards it to the Bokor. And she does a little bit of damage to him. And then she boosts to hit, hits again, does a little bit of damage, and then puts up Parasite. So that's good there. I'm trying to see where Craelix can go to shoot, and then I think maybe my Bolt Thrower can knock Vlad down. So I boost to hit the Cossite, hit, boost to hit Vlad and miss, because he's high defense right now because of Blood of Kings. And then I move Craelix over, who has a blessed bow, so he doesn't care. So he takes his first shot, hits, and crank a bunch of damage in. And then he shoots with his second shot, hits, and finishes Vlad off. And that's the game. Afterthoughts. So Legion got the win. Bob, what are some of your afterthoughts of how the game went and things that you think you could have done better?
For how the game went, there's a couple ways I could have played Strakhov's army attacking that Archangel that might have resulted in Strakhov not dying. If I had gone ahead and put Occultation on himself, that would have saved him from a lot of the shooting that came his way. And just even if I couldn't launch everything at the Archangel,
yeah, because I think you worked it out, and the Kodiak couldn't reach without that overrun, which was your Occultation focus.
Which could have been Occultation. So if I had launched Beast 09 in, done lots of damage, I could have tried to finish him off with shooting from the Widowmaker Marksman and the Cossites and the Assault Commandos. We could have tried to finish him off with shooting.
Part of the issue was you did them first too before Beast 09, and you were trying to get a bunch of damage into the Hellmouth, which then healed.
But the other thing I could have done different, though, was, like I said, just maybe I don't kill the Archangel. Maybe I beat the living piss out of it, but don't kill it. that's probably still better for me than losing Strakhov.
I think in the end, like, yeah, you did remove a really big piece of my army, but then I removed pretty much the same amount, if not more from your army.
Yeah. So that was a big early game thing that I probably could have played better.
Yeah.
The other one that we talked about a little bit earlier was the Widowmaker Marksman. If they teamed up, could have just erased Hellmouth, which also would have been pretty relevant instead of shooting the one that was just going to heal up.
Yeah, because you would have had 8 shots as long as you don't roll double ones on any of them. You do kill a Hellmouth in one
which is
round.
Significant, because those pricks don't go away.
Potentially would have been really smart to put them on the same side together, but...
So that was one thing I feel like could have played smarter, different. Besides from that, most of it didn't go too bad. I feel like I played okay for a lot of it. Dice were on my side for a lot.
You did your box cars twice in a row which I think on average dice, because there was only one focus on the Kodiak, that the 2 of those jacks wouldn't have finished off the Archangel, but I mean, rolling like a hero definitely helps.
Yeah.
You won the roll-off and chose to go second. Do you think that was the right choice?
I mean, it could have played a lot differently if I had gone first. I really didn't want to deal with getting around that house, and I did want those walls to help out my support stuff in the back. But if I had gone first, I could have had Strakhov put out lots of spells for his upkeeps, and then he's resourceful, so you have to keep them all for free. So you could have had a lot more spells out, and then have more focus to work with next turn, which would have been relevant. I also could have claimed a lot of table space and let you walk up where I can start really shooting into you. Well, that probably could have mattered. So it probably could have been good. I would have had to contend with the less good terrain on the other side of the table, but I probably would have been okay. So maybe going first would have been a smarter pick for me.
Yeah, and I think part of it too was, like Lylyth has a 21-inch threat range when she has a bolt thrower too, and you were thinking, I don't want to be taking hits turn 1 a little bit.
It's also annoying too,
Other than that, I think that this game actually showcased a lot of different rules, like bringing in the shredders with the pot, and
your soup kitchens are running overtime.
The soup kitchens, and it was like a really fun game. You don't see people running 2-caster games ever. Like, this is the first time like we realized that your field allowance goes up, so like I could have had 4 Hellmouths in the list. I don't own 4 Hellmouths because how often do you run multiple casters? But it was kind of a interesting thought exercise for like all these different things that you could bring in that you usually can't. But
I mean, for me personally, the shenanigans you can come up with which casters you're going to team up with each other, man, that was super fun. Like, list building when you're intending to bring 2 casters is awesome.
Yeah, like I was looking at it, and Thagrosh 1 has a strength buff, and then Lylyth has a very reliable parasite, so it's a 5-point armor swing, so my Archangel can hit, if I had put it on them, can hit at effectively 24s against a model. Which is huge. And like Thagrosh, if he puts up Fog of War, he then gives, because Lylyth has Prowl, she just has Stealth while in his command. That didn't come in, and part of the reason I put the Succubus with her was to follow her around, upkeep Parasite for free, and give her Stealth.
Yeah.
And I think overall she was the big winner, killing pretty well.
She played great.
She was the biggest contributing factor for killing 3 casters, I think. So
yeah, because I had, every time you'd shoot twice at a caster, I'd be like, I can shield guard 1, but then the other one's gonna hit me.
Yeah, and like she is super Fury Strap, being Fury 5, but which is part of the reason why I had her running an Archangel and a Bolt Thrower, is so I can just barely top her off. And then I also brought the Forsaken and Shepard to help out with control area possibly shenanigans, but didn't end up mattering that much because you removed an Archangel bottom of 1, which
It was bait, but it was really good bait.
yeah, it was.
You hooked a big one. You hooked a caster.
Yeah, I put him up there, and I didn't measure threats or anything. I knew you could get at least 1 jack on him, and I figured he probably survives 1 jack, and then the Beast 09 being Mat 10. With superiority, it means that he doesn't miss a lot either. No. Because the Archangel does have a little bit higher defense
for a colossal.
It was like a really cool game, and I did like the fact that losing an Archangel bottom of 1 is it would be a massive blow in a 75-point list, but I feel at that 150-point mark, you have enough stuff that you can continue the game.
Oh yeah.
And even you losing a caster didn't mean the game was immediately over, which was kind of neat.
Felt a lot better for me.
Yeah, kind of neat to see how that worked out there.
So I would say to anyone who's played a ton of Warmachine and is starting to get a little burnt out playing 75-point in-theme lists all the time, if they try a multi-caster game, just the thought exercises of pairing up your 2 casters is so much fun. So I would recommend to anyone to try that out, and it's great. It's a longer game.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun.
We weren't playing on clock or anything, obviously. So it was, I think we started around 11 in the morning and finished close to 4 in the afternoon for the actual game. But that's stopping for bathroom breaks and drinks and stuff like that. So so it was a really long game. It was a lot of fun though. I do recommend it because it's a little bit different and you don't see it that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much everything. Any last parting thoughts?
Just like I said, anyone who wants to try that out definitely should, because it's really neat.
Yeah, and if you guys have any ideas for things that you think that we should try, leave a comment in the video, let us know, and or anything that we can work on too. I know that we try to do a mix of 75-point steamroller and some smaller skirmish ones, and we've done a couple bigger ones now, but we're always down to try something different. So just leave a comment, and this has been Retaliatory Strike.